Hello and welcome to the Digital Digest, your weekly breakfast of insights, tips and tricks, and general information that will help anyone trying to move things forward in this digital world of accounting. This show is sponsored by iPlicit, the mid-market accounting solution for those that have outgrown entry-level accounting systems. It's also brought to you by the Digital Disruptors, and if you haven't checked it out, do check out the Digital Disruptor Awards. We'll be going live in September. I'm your host, and I'm joined by Phil Oakley from Outserve Web as we dive into wholesale systems, those that are, designed, built specifically for people that are trying to do wholesale in the B2B market. We're going to be diving into different platforms out there, but first, let's define what is wholesale. Like, what do we mean by wholesale? I'm going to throw this over to you, Phil, because I know you're a specialist in this space.
So wholesale, I'd be saying, traditionally we would have called that the middleman, maybe the middle woman, the middle person. It's that person who usually is buying in bulk, probably from the manufacturer, and then selling in a reasonable quantity in still good sizes to another business. So not to a direct consumer. So it's what we refer to a lot these days as B2B, business to business. But really sitting in that middle line because they're specialists in that area that can have a very wide range, or they've got great distribution to do that. It does get obviously more complicated than that for others. We're definitely seeing these days in the modern world that a manufacturer can be doing their own wholesaling and need those B2B requirements as well. But lots of great businesses out there wholesaling, buying in bulk, often storing in warehouses, and then selling to retailers, to other businesses.
Definitely. And I guess from that, procurement becomes important, logistics becomes important. And nowadays, even e-commerce to some extent, but to the direct to businesses becomes an important element. And you've got so many hybrid ways of working where they may be doing both B2C and B2B, and you need a platform that can handle both.
Yeah, they're just sort of intermediaries in the supply chain world. And obviously we're trying to make that efficient and effective. And probably what we are seeing over time is sometimes maybe the margins are getting smaller and smaller as people are touching this product multiple times, and probably with freight costs, storage costs, and everything else. So you've really got to know your numbers. Really got to understand what be very your supply chain needs to be tight, needs to be controlled, and clearly we've seen some supply chain shocks over the last few years. So those wholesalers need to be pretty canny, really know their numbers, and have good systems that are going to help them.
Yeah, automation is becoming more and more critical in the space, and visibility. So not just for you, but also for the people you work with, being your suppliers and your customers, that automated flow and updates to them becomes critical factors in picking a system. When you've been, working with businesses in this space, when they're looking to change, when they're looking to identify a new potential system, what are their specific niches, requirements that you think actually, make me help me identify different products that will be more suitable for them?
Yeah, and I think it is, having that focus on what are their challenges, what are their pain points, and of course, even within that wholesale distribution sector, uh, different businesses will have different problems, and that's where we would go in. Often starting with people and process, really looking, understanding their business. Often it can be, they can have a very different sales approach. Some people could be out there with, sort of direct sales team going, knocking door to door or in the cars. Others very much online, or want to move online. This is a problem. Are we looking to fit existing systems, or actually is this part of a change? You know all about this, Ryan. Digital transformation, digital disruption is that things are changing now, and people might be coming to us going, okay, well, we did used to have this sales team on the road, but now we really want to offer a portal. We really want people to be able to come and put an order online 24/7, and we just don't do that today. So it's really understanding, current state and target state. Where do they want to be? What does success look like? And that's when we can start to go, okay, well, maybe these sort of systems will really help you. Actually, maybe you do need software to help your sales team on the road, or actually you need, the best B2B portal to place orders on, or you need both. As you say, there's some really interesting hybrid models these days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is something that came out of the pandemic, is that businesses realized, it's great to focus in an area, but you are then, it's high risk. So spread risk by branching out into other areas that complement what you do. And therefore, the system that you're looking at has to be a lot more dynamic, a lot more flexible. And that's where it just creates more challenge for us in advising them, finding the right system, recommending and bringing that in. So let's talk a little bit about specific systems that are out there and maybe where an entry level is. So if you were going, okay, a very simple business, they're just starting out, they're just growing. What do you think a good entry level system would be for them?
Yeah, and hopefully we'd be expecting them to have some accounting software as a foundation, so a Zero and a QuickBooks. But I think we're already
Of
thinking that
course,
they've
yeah.
probably outgrown that. So I think we'd start looking at inventory management, because this is so much of the wholesaler's life
Yep.
is from purchase order processing to sales order processing, the old SOP pop stock idea, and looking what would be a good fit. As you know, Ryan, we're very much in the unleashed world and seeing whether that were good. But there are many inventory management packages out there that offer what we'd call probably a core of functionality, but there are other things around that, depending on integrations, specific functionality that business might need, that you could look at. And that's where we'd start looking at things like, what sort of maybe pricing matrix do they need? What is their order flow? What sort of products do they have? Do they need an element of assembly or manufacturing? And what other systems, do they need to integrate to?
We've talked about it many times in this show before. Digital transformation and process mapping is critical to really understand and get under the hood of the client's requirements are. And then you can start talking about that blue sky. Like, what is it? Yeah, this is where you are, but what do you want to solve? Where are the pain points and how do we kind of alleviate those? When I guess starting at kind of inventory level, basic level, right? You've got some systems out there. I think even Tidy Stock is still exists. There is a kind of basic level stock management system where you're going just that level beyond QuickBooks Online, that level beyond Zero and Sage, etc. You're like, okay, we need some slightly more advanced functionality, receipting goods, etc. in the additional flow. But then going beyond that, and we want to now enhance. Let's talk a little bit about Unleashed, because it used to be the entry level system and has now grown to have its own marketplace, its own plethora of things that you can build on top of. That really dive into things such as logistics, such as into forecasting. So as I know this is a system that you specialize in, let's talk a little about what's possible in the world of Unleashed.
Yeah, and I think as you say, there's still a sort of a core entry level there, and it sort of is at times sort of the de facto standard for Zero. Once you need that inventory management, and it will absolutely do all of that core. But as you say, it will expand out of there into additional functionality. So if you do need, there is either an assembly or manufacturing. We've got both batch tracking, which of course can definitely affect wholesalers, even if you're not manufacturing. You might need batch numbers, expiry dates, serial numbers, often popular with obviously electronics and that sort of equipment that might be going through. Um, the B2B portal, and again, you can see, many systems might offer this B2B portal, but it's one that Unleashed is really focused on being once you've got your products and your customers and your price matrix, which of course is so important for discounts, quantity breaks, and all the things that you'd expect. That can then be passed directly into a B2B portal, so customers can log in online, see the products that you want them to see as your customer, and the price, their prices, which I think is so
Yeah,
important in the wholesale game, because different customers have different prices. This is one of the big differentiators from maybe the D2C world, where obviously everyone sees the same price.
yeah, definitely. It's got to have that flexibility, that bespokenness, right, for the customers that you have, not necessarily favourable, but preferential terms with, because potentially they've been a long customer with you. They deserve it, right, because of they've proven that they're going to constantly buy from you. But even before I guess we get to Unleashed, you've got some of these systems that can collate different information together. So one that I've come across recently is StoreHub, which I guess builds out from those consolidators such as A2X, where you kind of bring it in from the B2C model, but they've got like a B2B portal that can also share information directly to your customers. Simpler, from what I can tell. I'm not an expert on the system, but there may be an entry level where you start off, and then when you need proper inventory management, you move into the likes of Unleashed, Sin7, and did you say Katana as well is a good one in this space?
Yeah, if you're in that inventory management space, I think you'd say Katana, Sin7. Obviously, the two Sin7s now with Core and Omni, things like Finale. There is, and this is, I think, one of the issues. There is, as you know, Ryan, with any solution, there's many, many, many choices. and looking at some of these solutions that sort of do include a little bit of inventory management and understanding when you need to go to that next phase is one of the hardest decisions. So, say Shopify and other e-commerce platforms have inventory management enough to sort of deal with that part of the business when you need to go to the next level. Same with, say, Lightspeed, the product which we used to call Vend, and these EPOS systems
Yeah.
have inventory management at a light level. And it's when you need to go from inventory light to that next step of really needing a specific system. So, and there's definitely steps along that way.
Yeah, because I guess you start, if you're looking at price point perspective, you're probably spending maybe £30 a month on a finance system. And then a consolidator, you're spending possibly the similar amount, maybe £30, £40 a month, which is definitely worth it. If you're in the B2C space and you're working across, sales platforms, that's one of the first places I look to go from an automation, because it just saves you so much time. But moving into inventory, you're generally starting about 150, maybe even more than that now per month. And you're like, oh, I'm quadrupling my cost potentially just to get to where I need to from a basic level. But it's worth the investment, because assuming you're planning to grow, you need that fundamental base and to build on. And then you can add on things as you grow. So if we talk about, like we mentioned logistics, right? I know that things such as Unleashed, they've got the ability to plug into logistics channels, and also your own fleet management, haven't you, with Unleashed?
Yeah, and I think this comes back is the efficiency that it's going to bring actually pay that. If it's not paying back £150 a month or plus, then really it isn't worth doing. If you can't see that it's going to save you time, save effort, be able to take more of those orders, make more money, it shouldn't really be costing you a penny. As you know, Ryan, the subscription is only one part of the cost, and if anything, you really need to factor in time and effort, even of
Yeah.
your own time and effort. But it's about return on investment, and you should be able to hopefully clearly see in that target state that it's going to save you time and really help you grow that business significantly, to bring more sales in, make more profit, make better margin.
Yeah, and that's where, if we go back again to the start, right, where the process mapping is critical, because in some of that you can allocate time, cost to those tasks, and then from it build up a cost of operations. You go, well, this is where we are, and this is by adopting these systems where we can be. And you can do that comparison and identify it. Like when we do it for businesses, we're on average identifying £1,400 per month in efficiency savings, and that's from like relatively small businesses up to ones that are really complex. And there's a big range there, but on average, £1,400 per month, you can get quite a bit in systems for £1,400 a month. And then that comes with all the additional bits that you could do, that you're not even, from where you are process mapping, you're going into new realms that you're not even considered.
One of the big focuses on Unleashed and many others now, obviously, is around forecasting. I think we've
Yeah.
probably discussed it before, Ryan, and this is where there is great savings to be had. We talk about stock outs or overstocking. The cost of just having a load of stock that you can't sell. Not only have you tied up a load of cash in that physical stock, but then you're literally paying for warehouse space. At times, you might as well just go and burn that stock. I'll bring a box of matches round and set fire to it, because you will save money from not paying for warehouses. That is taking up. Trying to do that forecasting to buy the right stock in, which is going to sell at the right time, and making sure you've got that stock turn just right. And of course, nothing more frustrating than stock outs when somebody wants to buy something but you haven't got it in stock. You've lost that sale.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you're storing stuff that people don't want to buy, and then you haven't got stuff in stock that people do want to buy. That really is beating yourself up there.
Yeah.
And where forecasting is coming part of that. And of course, wholesale businesses, that is that game. Get in stock what people want to buy and try not to get caught with that stuff that they don't want.
Well, true. And then that's where the beauty of automation comes in now with these advanced systems, because you have minimum stock order levels. So it can trigger the creation of the purchase order, just send it straight for approval. So all you're doing is going, yeah, that's right. And it goes across to your supplier. That's saving you so much time. And the brilliant thing that I like about some of these advanced forecasting apps that are built specifically for, the inventory businesses, including in wholesale, is that they're looking at trends in the purchasing of your customers and going, well, this is what we think is going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months. So it allows you to, to build, or to early source maybe cheaper, or go to market and source cheaper products, ready for that influx. So yeah, I think it's a really exciting place for AI at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and these are, there's part of it. It was projecting and forecasting these numbers. But as you can understand, we've got clients who've got thousands and thousands of product codes. No one person can store that in your head, and trying to put that in an Excel spreadsheet and really run those numbers. And sometimes you've just got to, tweak that forecast where suddenly somebody tells you, actually, that thing that you ordered, which was coming on the containers on a big ship, was going to take 6 weeks, is now going to take 10 weeks. That really is going to, knock on that forecast, and
Yeah,
then you're going to have to think about how you place the purchase orders. A spreadsheet, or however good your brain is just not going to work as fast as an inventory management system or a forecasting system coming up with those new numbers. And anything that's
definitely.
going to help you be able to forecast what people want to buy and when they want to buy it is really, really going to help.
Yeah, look, and look, we're massive advocates for the modern ERP, this integrated suite of systems that connect via secure API. But we have to comment on those kind of all-in-one systems. And I know you've got an all-in-one finance system that's based in Europe called Exact Online that does have like advanced inventory, manufacturing, and can handle the wholesale business. If you're looking at that mid-tier finance solution, that is one to consider. If you're looking for something that's UK focused, iPlicit has an inventory system. It's not built, I guess, for all these advanced kind of automations that we've been discussing from a wholesale perspective, but it can be that core. And I know that because of its API, you can build it into inventory systems such as Unleashed and still kind of get that high level or more advanced finance system with the automation that the inventory systems can deliver as well.
Goes back to what you said, Ryan. There was also back to that scoping, isn't it? It's back to that understanding. What do you need from financials? What do you need from inventory? And in this world of APIs and integrations, you can really understand of where you get your bang from your buck, where you get return from your investment, and what's going to give you that success of the future.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So this brings us to, I guess, what we love doing on this show when we're looking at a plethora of systems, which is our bed buy bin area. And I'm going to save you, Phil, and I'm going to go first, or maybe save the best till last by going first. So what would I bed buy or bin out of this? So I think the way we work in our space, the one that we always found really solid, the one we always can go to, probably our first one to go, is this going to be the right solution for the client before we look at others, is Unleashed. It's just a really solid footing. We love the choice it provides. Not always the perfect solution. It has certain industries it works very well with, but it's a good starting point. If I was going to buy, where do I look to buy? I think I like what I've looked. I'm still need to explore it in more depth, but I kind of like what StoreHub are trying to do. It feels like Expandly, but a few years ago before they started to diversify. And if they stay in that niche, I really like that they're kind of an entry level, simple solution where you want to go into B2C and B2B and keep those availability of stock. And then a bin is a tough one because each one has its own unique space and its own solution. I think if you're trying to do for wholesale specifically, and you're trying to do everything automatically, I don't think iPlicit would work. Realistically, I think you're going to have to connect into something else. So you might want it as the finance solution, but you're not going to want it to do all the operational elements. You're going to want to plug something in. So I'd probably have to put iPlicit in the bin area for that, even though admittedly it's probably our go-to for the mid-tier finance solution. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think I certainly agree with you in some of those areas. I'd obviously have to go with Unleashed from inventory management as the one that I really, and we are in bed with, of course. Buy, and I'm thinking a little bit more into the future here. I think this world of Shopify B2B and B2B portals on Shopify is getting really interesting. So some of these e-commerce platforms moving into the B2B world, or get improving in that B2B world, particularly Shopify Plus. Some of the add-ons that you can get there. So I know there's things like Spark Layer, which are plugins for Shopify that can offer B2B. These are really interesting spaces, and even as you know, we love A2X and some of these integrations, which are now starting then again to look at how they can integrate and interact in the B2B space. So I'd be buying these things for the future, thinking they're going to be players in the B2B space. Bin, little couple of cop outs here, no doubt. One, I think we've got to bin the spreadsheet. Bin Excel. Sorry, Microsoft. I think spreadsheets have a job, have a role to do in all of our lives, and we love them. Accountants, we absolutely love them, but they should not be an inventory management system. They should not be a forecast or a wholesaling system. I think that's what we see. Time to bin the spreadsheet. Also, interestingly, some are obviously monolithic ERP systems,
Yeah.
which don't integrate nicely with other things, which won't connect to Shopify or won't go to a nice portal. So you've got your two extremes there. Your very small businesses trying to limp along on a spreadsheet to your, your larger businesses who are thinking of, monolithic, big ERP systems, but even your likes of SAP Business One, which is down the bottom end, that just are difficult to integrate with. And I think we all know these systems, and without bashing, whether it be your Sage 200s, your more traditional legacy systems, which are great in functionality and have served their purpose for many businesses, but they don't work with a sort of an open API or
Yeah.
the sort of integrations. And there's quite a lot of those out there. So I think, unfortunately, those solutions don't look like they have a great future to me.
Oh no, I think they know that, right? They're
Mhm.
there to just make the money while they can, knowing that they're not going to develop it further. That customers will leave, but they've spent the time doing the investment. They now
Yep.
need to make the money from having done that work, and that's what happens. Like we're seeing it now with the realms of AI. Some of those early cloud solutions are either having to completely rebuild the back end. That's what Zero have been doing, or just stay in their lane and know that something's going to come along and replace it in the longer term. We're seeing kind of the new phase of AI powered cloud-based system. So yeah, no, you were definitely right on all of that, Phil. And thank you so much for coming on. I think this is a great place to wrap up this week's show. Hopefully this episode provided everyone listening with valuable insights that you can take forward. Please do check out the show notes. So links to all of the systems that we've referenced throughout this and our wonderful sponsor, iPlicit. Plus anything and anyone that we've referenced in this show, including Phil and his speciality in the wholesale area. If you want to ensure you catch future episodes, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you look out for the release every Thursday morning. We will be switching to live shows in the future. So if you do want to make sure you catch those, please subscribe to our LinkedIn channel where you'll be notified when it goes live. We look forward to speaking to you again in the future.